So my air conditioning does not work, and I've had it inspected and diagnosed, and the issue is the condenser. So we are going to try to take this condenser out. I've already taken off the grill and this top piece right here. That's pretty easy. Just a couple 13mm nuts, a couple screws up top. No big deal. That's pretty easy. The Rave book says take off the bumper. It's all about getting to some bolts down there, but I'm actually going to take out the radiator since that one is easier to take apart. I've taken off both, and the radiator is a lot easier. So we're going to do that today. So the first thing we're going to do is take off this and this screw, and we're going to take off these hoses. Be careful with this one. This plastic piece right underneath this hose might be brittle if it's the original radiator, and you could definitely break it by taking this hose off with too much force. So try to make not too much of a mess. I have not taken this hose off yet, but I've taken this off, so that's going to give me some air. I'm going to go down below and drain it, and hopefully that way I don't have a bunch of coolant coming out of this hose making a mess. Alright, so I drained it with the 21mm socket down below. I've taken the tube off to the thermostat and unscrewed these two 13mm bolts that go in sideways that hold the radiator on the below. So now I'm going to take everything off here and get to the radiator. So I got a 36mm fan clutch wrench, just a nice tap on the side, and it'll loosen it up, and then I can unspin the fan. So I got the fan out. I turned it the same way that you hit it with the big wrench. Took it a couple of whacks, but finally it came loose, shocked it loose. So now I'm going to take off this piece right here. Got out. Now just going to pull out the radiator. You got to unclip the sensor down below, but I'll unclick that and I'll just pull right on out. The reason I want the radiator out is essentially access to these bolts that hold in the condenser, but there's no way you would be able to put the nuts back there because they're not attached to this bracket. They're a separate nut. If they are attached to this separate bracket, then I just did all that for nothing. But I'm also going to get a lot better access to the bolts that hold in, see if I can see them, that hold in that hold the hoses to the condenser. So I took out these two nuts, 10mm, this little bracket. So you're going to need to remove this piece right here. This is the little wind deflector. It's got a couple attachments right here. Just pop those out and just wiggle it on out. Alright, had to break down and get a 19mm stubby. There's just no way you're going to get a long wrench in there. I think I'm going to decide to take off this bracket, this whole bracket, and I'll get a lot better access to the nuts to hold those lines in. Alright, so I actually did not have to take out the radiator because these bolts are part of this bracket, but the ability to move this bracket that holds the power steering pump reservoir is priceless to be able to get access down there. Basically you have to use a shorty, small stubby 19mm wrench to be able to undo these two lines. I'm not looking forward to tightening up those two lines doing the reinstall. That's not going to be fun. And putting in the two bolts that hold in the bottom, I'll probably have to get a small pair of arms to maybe guide the bolts in place. That might be a little tough, but probably can do it without actually removing the bumper. Got the condenser back in. Again, don't really had to have the radiator out, but there's a couple of locating pins on each corner. I'm not sure how you would get that positioned right. And the ability to move this bracket out of the way for a small adjustable wrench to be able to get those bolts was, you had to have that. So all right, we got it all buttoned up, got the radiator back in, fan back on, everything's back together except for the grill and such, but mechanically we're all there. All right, I just put a vacuum on it. It's 2:48 in the afternoon. I'm gonna come back in a little bit and see if this vacuum holds. I hold the the vacuum. So it's been about 15 minutes. So I'm feeling very confident about this. So I'm gonna put the vacuum on again for about an hour or so and really get all the moisture out of there. And then we'll proceed after that. Okay, so it's been an hour and 10 minutes. I'm looking really good. Just under, shade under 30. Let's close this one. And for the high side, nice and tight. Turn off the pump. It's holding. And I'm gonna wait for about 30 minutes. Come on back. So this is the next day, and I haven't turned on the pump yet, and it's held pressure overnight. This is a good sign. All right, it's been almost an hour. I'm ready to put the Freon back in. So I got everything fixed. Everything is, air conditioning is working perfectly. I did have one issue putting the Freon back in. I was unable to get the compressor to really kick in to take more Freon to charge it up. If you notice, it takes 49 ounces. And this is only a 12-ounce can, so I had to take it to a shop. They charged me about 150 bucks to put the Freon back in and recharge it. They put a vacuum on it real quick before and then charged it back up. And what he said was, when I was talking to him, why I was having trouble, because this can is only 12 ounces. So it was never going to kick in, but their machines can actually force the 49 ounces in. So hopefully this video helps someone else.